Morning. How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. This little one is Bugsy Malone. And this is episode 97 of Tottenham Walks. Do me a favour, guys, if you don't mind, smash a like button, smash a subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and smash a comment if you haven't done any of those things already. Enjoy, embrace, and develop the conversation with me as we go through three topics that are pertinent to Tottenham Hotspur today. First and foremost, let me get the nonsense article out of the way. Djed Spence, he's deleted all of his content from Instagram with the exception of one picture of him with an England shirt on, and the media are rushing to this and creating a mountain out of a molehill, saying, oh, what does this mean? He's deleted all of his Tottenham content. Does this mean that he's out, he's done, he's leaving the club, he's going out on loan? Is he annoyed? Is he pissed off? Trying to create division. But they neglect to tell you he didn't just delete his Tottenham content, he deleted everything. His Forest content, his Middlesbrough content, his non-football related content. Now, why he did that, I don't know. Some people are saying it's because of protest about Qatar. Some people are saying it's because his account was hacked. Who knows? I've got no idea. But all I can tell you is that I think that whilst Djed Spence may leave the club in January, and we'll talk about that in just a second, I don't think that this particular act has anything to do with it. If you were having sending some sort of message about your time at Tottenham, then why would you delete all of the footage about your time at Nottingham Forest and elsewhere? Doesn't make sense. So don't believe the hype. For me, it's a nothing burger. Now, whether or not Djed Spence is still going to be at Tottenham Hotspur by the end of January, who knows? To me, not to get off the topic of today's news, but to me, Antonio Conte and Paratici and Levy and whoever else the stakeholders are in the transfer decisions need to get together and have a frank and full conversation around what is the plan for Djed Spence. You know, unfortunately, we've already lost one of the opportunities where teams traditionally bleed their youngsters and their kids to see how good they are in the Carabao Cup. That was a wasted opportunity. Tottenham are not in a position generally in most Premier League games where you're 3-4-0 up with 10 minutes to play or 15 minutes to play where you can bring on the kids and the youth to give them their chance. That's a rarity. I mean, who knows who will get in the FA Cup, but that's really not enough time for me to think that unless he has intentions to give him chances in the Premier League, then he should go out on loan. Now, to me, I think that we should get rid of one of, or ideally both, Emerson Royal and Matt Doherty before we get rid of Djed Spence. But given the history so far, Conte hasn't shown any desire, any faith in Djed Spence, and to the point where if Doherty and Emerson Royal are unavailable, then he'd rather play a left wing back inverted the right wing back than give a right wing back the chance. So who knows, but he may or may not go out on loan. If he's not in the plans, for the betterment of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, for the betterment of the player, for the betterment of the fans, to get that kind of issue out of our minds, he should go out on loan to a Premier League club in January if he's not part of the plans. Now, how that would affect homegrown players versus foreign player contingent in the Champions League, etc., I'm not entirely sure about that, but if it means him leaving means we can't bring in another foreign centre-back or whatever, then we'll have to rethink that at the time. But my point of this whole rant is I don't think that Djed Spence's Instagram Jesus, I go off on tangents. I don't think that Djed Spence's Instagram content deletion has anything to do with Tottenham Hotspur and his future at the club. Next story, guys, is Anthony Gordon, the Everton player. Despite Tottenham seemingly being very close to signing Ruslan Malinovsky for a significantly smaller fee than what is purported to be required to pay to acquire Anthony Gordon's services, the links regarding Tottenham Hotspur and Anthony Gordon refuse to go away. Alistair Gold keeps talking about this, saying they're still lingering, there's still a lot of interest, and Tottenham are closely monitoring this player. Now listen, for me, I don't think it will happen, because I don't think Tottenham can afford to spend another £60 million on another forward who isn't going to play all the time. We made a massive mistake, in my opinion, on Richarlison of the two players from Everton. If Everton were going to pull our pants down on any particular player, it should have been Anthony Gordon. I'm a massive admirer of Anthony Gordon. I think he's got such a low centre of gravity, his ability to pivot both ways, to run with confidence at the ball, to dribble, his crossing's very good, his vision of passing is very good for someone so young. He's not afraid to have a crack with the right or the left foot. He also is tenacious and fights, and even when Everton are out of the game against Tottenham last season at home, they were losing 5-0. I was at the game, and Anthony Gordon was the only player that was still fighting for every battle like it was 0-0. Really impressive performance from him then, and I've been impressed pretty much every time I've seen the guy. Is he worth 60 million quid? Well, I don't know. How do you value a player? Is it what they've done so far? Is it how much runway they have to improve? Is it the character of the player? To me, Tottenham have made a lot of mistakes in buying players for certain reasons without investigating others. Ndombele's character, for example, was a bad one. Dele Alli, who would have thought he would have tailed off the way he did. When I look at Anthony Gordon, I don't see a player who's a young, super talented maestro who has the propensity to fall off with his mindset. I think he's going to get stronger and stronger and better, and whoever does end up paying over the top right now for Anthony Gordon will probably see that value and that return on investment will be repaid in the future. At 21 years old, I think he's got so much potential, and I think he's got so much ability already that if he was to come off the bench, I'd be so much more excited to see him than a Brian Hill or a Richarlison. As I say, you know how I stand on this channel about Richarlison. I'll always support the guy, I'll sing his name, and I want him to do as best as he can for Tottenham. I just don't see it happening. I think we overpaid massively because we've all now fallen in love with the only things that I can see that are meaningful positives about his time at Tottenham, and that is his shithousery and his passion. But his first touch, his overindulgence in trying to overcomplicate the path with back heels or nutmegs, and his inability to trap a bag of cement, for me, tell me everything I need to know about him at his age. I don't think he's going to score anywhere near as many goals as other people do, and I think he's going to end up being another flop for the value, for the price we paid. So if we could turn back time and go back to the summer and pick one of those players from Everton for 60 million quid, I wish it had been Anthony Gordon. But it is what it is. Will we sign him now? I don't think so. If he does come in, and if we can structure a deal where we give 20 million now and up to 60 million, depending on what happens in the future, I don't think that would ever happen. But if it could be done that way, I'd be all about it, because I think he's a really, really highly talented and interesting, exciting player. But for me, the priorities, as I said 1,000 times, are far deeper down the pitch. We need to go after centre-backs and right wing-backs. And that 60 million quid that you'd spend on Anthony Gordon, just like the 60 million quid we spent on Richarlison in the summer, there's an opportunity cost there. That money could have and should have been spent elsewhere on more important positions and bigger holes in other areas of the pitch. And we probably should have gone and spent £15 million or whatever it was that Forest paid for Emmanuel Dennis, who scored more goals from open play last season than Richarlison did in a weaker team at Watford. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I don't believe that Richarlison will be a good player for Tottenham that will come anywhere close to it. But I'm not trying to be negative on him. It's just a comparison in terms of valuation. And for me, Anthony Gordon would have been the right option. Don't think it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen, unfortunately, now because of the opportunity cost. But if Tottenham could find a way to structure the deal, I'd be very excited about it, as long as it didn't prevent us from getting the better players in the holes that are bigger that we need in the summer. Last thing I'm going to say, guys, is tomorrow morning, if history repeats itself, the financial results of Tottenham Hotspur for the season ending 2022 will be released. The last 2 years, November the 23rd has been the day when the financial results leading up to the same year, but on June the 31st is the end of their financial year. June the 30th, sorry. That's when the results come out. So if tomorrow is the same, then we'll see how Tottenham's finances were up until the end of June of this year. So it's not going to include the Champions League money. It's not going to include any details about that £100 million or the £150 million tranche. All of that stuff's going to be excluded. It's not even going to include any of the transfer business from that window that's just happened. But it will include everything up until then, and we'll be able to see the revenue that's coming in, the percentage of the revenue that is taken up by salaries and how that's changed, we'll be able to see the overall profit or loss of the year. To give you some ideas, guys, last year's revenue was 361 million, impacted by obviously no stadiums for the season before. The season before that was 402 million, and the season before that was 460 million. And then overall operating loss for last year was 80 million. The season before was 67 million, and the season before that, 2019, was 87 million pound profit. I'm really intrigued to see if we get back to profitability, and if not, why not? Where's the money going? Is it paying down debt? Is it have we paid off more of our player trading liabilities? All of that stuff will be exposed in the report, and I will be doing Wi-Fi dependent. I will be doing a live stream to go through this stuff with you tomorrow. So I won't be able to get a video out like this out in the morning, because I'll be spending most of the morning reading through the 25 pages of results and let everybody know my thoughts on it. I can't wait. I love that stuff. It's like heroin to me. But keep an eye out, guys. If, of course, it doesn't happen, if there's no results out tomorrow, then I'll let you know, and that'll be disappointing, and this whole topic is pointless. But I'm really excited to see where we sit financially, and from that we might be able to garner some insight into where we stand and what that looks like going forward into the January transfer window. Can't wait to talk to you about that tomorrow, guys. Like, share and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are on the 3 topics we've spoken about. Do you like Anthony Gordon? Would you like him into the club? Is he an unnecessary overcost that we can't afford right now? Would you have preferred him to Richarlison? Let me know what your thoughts are on Djed Spence, and let me know if you have any particular interesting takes or concerns about the finances, and I will see you on the next one. I'll see you in the comments. Like, share and subscribe. And as always, guys, as always, bye-bye.